everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hoth Topic, presented by the Sarlacc Digest. I'm your host, Kris, and what are we going to talk about today? Well, I alluded to it a little bit last episode. I want to talk about my list of favorite Jedi, ending with who I think at this point, with the Skywalker saga ending, who is the greatest Jedi of all. And little caveat here, little asterisk, just because I know we got some Legends fans in there. I'm only using canon stories right now. Though I know other Jedi exist, though I know the Old Republic exists, I don't have their stories in canon yet. I know Revan exists, but I don't have his story yet set in canon, so I'm not going to use him in this discussion, okay? So I'm just going to start rolling right through it. Let's go through my top list of Jedi, and you're going to have to just deal with it because I'm on video and you can't yell, right? You can yell, but I can't hear you. But you can drop me a comment if you disagree, agree, whatever. You know how it works. All right, so dig it. I'm going to start out with the obvious. You see where I'm at, right? I'm in the Jedi Council. So you think that the head of the Jedi Council, right, the Grand Master of all the Jedi would be your top Jedi. You would assume that Yoda would be it, right? No, I used to think that Yoda would be the prime Jedi, the top one, not the prime, not the first one, but the one right now, the ultimate Jedi. Powerful, wise, all of these things, all the above, right? But when going through the prequels again, which I did recently with my son, you watch how flawed Yoda is, right? And watching the Clone Wars too. He makes a lot of mistakes. He's not sure what to do, and he's not strong enough to see what's going on around him, right? He knows the dark side's clouding everything, yet somehow there's this massive, 100,000 clones ready to go and attack, and instead of him figuring out that Jango is the template and Jango's on Geonosis, he's going to go bring the clones in to help fight. So he doesn't see any of this. None of the Jedi see any of this. It's not putting two and two together, which is fine for the movie. But when you're going to do it, you got to realize that this is the Grand Master Jedi. He should have sent something or figured something out, right? So he's flawed in that respect. He couldn't beat Sidious. That was another part, right? You'd think he'd be able to take down Sidious, at least a little bit better than he did. Maybe not whoop him, but hang a little better and not run away like he did. He just knows he's too powerful. So that's an issue there that kind of takes Yoda back. And I don't know, hiding for 20 some odd years again takes a little bit away, because he wasn't even, as far as I know, any stories on Dagobah that he was doing anything productive. At least Obi-Wan, who we'll get to in a minute, at least he had a mission and he was told to go there and he was training and he was learning things and he was watching over Luke. So I'll give him points there in a minute. But Yoda, as powerful as he is, as wise as he is, as old as he is, he's not the greatest Jedi in the Skywalker saga. Okay? Our next one would be, you'd think, maybe you'd have a shot at the chosen one, right? I'm not a master, I can't be a master, nobody's gonna let him be a master himself, Anakin. You would think that would be it, right? He is super powerful. We all know that, right? He has visions. He can duel with anybody. He's ultra powerful, can pull anything off as a Jedi. But we know what it was, right? His emotions got the best of him. His fear, his anger, his hate, everything. He's killed way too many younglings, sand people, wives, everything to be the ultimate Jedi. He could have been. That's the drag. Is you see Anakin, and that's the tragedy of him, right? Becomes Vader, and that's it. We all know his story, obviously. So that's it. Now, you asked me a couple months ago. If you'd have asked me probably 6-7 months ago who I thought was the ultimate Jedi, it would have been probably Obi-Wan, right? Good old Ben Kenobi. That's pretty simple, because he's been through more than just about any of them, and he never turned, right? He never swayed. He lost Qui-Gon right in front of him, okay? He lost Satine. He sacrificed himself. He lost all the Jedi. His clones turned on him. Cody turned on him and shot him. What has Obi-Wan not been through? Hell, even the Darth Maul fighting for 30 years with him, that's emotional toll. He never once strayed, no matter what happened. And to that, Obi-Wan gets hella points, right? He's way up there, and he's still close to it, but he's not my ultimate. He still has his flaws too. The Satine thing, that's still a flaw as far as the Jedi go, letting his emotions get involved there, not helping with the dark side, knowing that it was there. He should have been strong. He was sitting there kind of cocky in this chamber showing off his boots, right, all the time, when his his apprentice is sitting here moping and sad. He should have done a little more to help Anakin and maybe help the council realize what was going on. He had the most insight into Anakin, which is why when he does go away for those years, for those 19 years, he's got a lot to reflect on. We're going to realize that he does feel like he did fail Anakin, right? At episode 3 at the end, he says, "I failed you." He did, right? He should have helped him somewhere get help, talk to the council, do something, and not put him in a position to where he was. So Obi-Wan did fail him. And I think that's where his drop-off is the failure of Anakin. Luke. Okay, if we're talking EU Legends Luke, yeah, Luke's the ultimate Jedi. Luke wins. Luke's way uber powerful, right? But we're not. We're talking about canon Luke. And canon Luke is more like me, right? More like you, really. Anybody. He's more human than we would have been led to believe in Legends. In Legends, he would pull things out of the sky, crush this, crush... He could take on the Empire himself, just like he says in Last Jedi, right? And I think everybody does miss the fact that Luke was a farm boy at 19 years old, no clue that his dad was who he was, no clue that he had any power whatsoever, none of that, right? And at 19 years old, he's thrust into the battle. I'm not going to do a whole old school Luke breakdown like I did before, but remember, at 19 years old, this dude had to do a lot, okay? He killed 1 million people on the Death Star, good, bad, or indifferent. If they're villains, good guys, bad guys, contractors, taking a life hurts. And that fool was messed up right then, right? So after return, you figure he's got to go do his thing. And then all of a sudden, everybody has this thought of Luke, right? This Paul Bunyan tale that he's 10 feet tall and can take on anybody and is uber powerful and all this stuff. Luke has that in him, hearing that and knowing that he's not there yet. He's untrained. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's have to hear that. There's a book, Legends of Luke Skywalker, which I will never do a review on. Well, maybe I will, but it'll take 30 seconds. I'll do it right now. It's not a good book. I didn't enjoy it. It's a slow read. It's a burn, right? But what it does, the one thing it does do is it watches people throughout the galaxy, right? It follows people talking about the stories of Luke Skywalker and how all the stories are different and embellished and they're playing telephone, just like in real life, right? If you go on the internet and you pick certain things, you're going to get different answers. He hears these stories going on. And it's like, can he live up to them, or even the bad ones, right? There's a lot of pressure on him. And then when he fails, Ben, and he turns into Kylo and runs off, that's his last failure. He does come back. He does redeem himself in one of the best scenes, I'll say, in the entire saga. Though if I rank them all, Last Jedi is probably the last movie, right? It's behind Attack of the Clones and behind The Phantom Menace. And I love Attack of the Clones, by the way. I'll do a video all on Attack of the Clones again. But Luke redeemed himself, was ultimately a great Jedi, did what he had to do, and he set Rey on her path, okay, and helped out and helped the entire resistance. So Luke's up there as far as heart and will and doing right for his friends, but not an ultimate Jedi. He hadn't had enough training time or anything else. He hadn't had to really battle, right? What did he have to do? He was living in a time of peace after Return of the Jedi. 5 years of battling is not going to cut it when you had to deal with these guys in a council chamber, right? Going through a clone war, going through all of this, and really during a time where the Jedi Knights were relevant. That Luke just didn't do it in canon. That kind of leads us to Rey. Rey could be on the list just because she's so powerful, being Palpatine's granddaughter, but really, to be honest, the sequels didn't do it. The sequels didn't make her the greatest Jedi because they don't see every little bit, at least not enough of it. Maybe we'll get some animation. Maybe we'll get some books or comics or whatever that build her story up. And that helps everybody, right? We wouldn't know about Satine and all this stuff on Obi-Wan if we didn't have cartoons. We wouldn't know a lot about, we still don't know a lot about Yoda. Anakin was really fleshed out in Clone Wars. Rey doesn't have that much fleshing out. And that's unfortunate because I really feel that whole trilogy really rested on Kylo Ren. And luckily I love Kylo Ren, but that's the problem. Rey's not going to be making this list, or at least the top of it. The next one might surprise you, actually. And it surprised me because Rebels, you wouldn't think it would come from. But I see Kanan, not Ezra. Kanan as an ultimate Jedi, as a very powerful, great Jedi now, okay? And I'd say that last season 4 of Rebels really did it. And his sacrifice at the end really put it over the top where he was probably in the top 3 to me at that point. At this point, I'm talking Kanan, Obi-Wan, and Yoda when that happened. Okay, those are my top 3 Jedi at that moment when he saved everybody in Rebels and sacrificed his life, got his vision back, all this. But the reason I think he's so great is because Order 66, he has to run. He has to hide. He has no choice. He's in the middle of training. They're all after the Jedi. He's a kid. Caleb Doom has to run, and he has to stay away. But he keeps his stuff, right? He keeps his lightsaber broken up. He still uses the Force here and there. He still kind of does good things. But if you read A New Dawn, you know he's more on the Han side than the Luke side, really, when it plays out. But when you get to Rebels, he's grown. You can see how much he cares for people. You can see his heart. You can see what he does when he's training Ezra. He's not wanting to quit Ezra because it's hard training him. He wants to give Ezra up because it's better for Ezra. He wants Ezra to have the best training. He has that piece in him more than Obi-Wan did with Anakin. Anakin may have said, Obi-Wan should have said, this guy needs to be trained, but it shouldn't be me yet. Master Yoda, could you start it and I'll take it over in 2 years when I'm ready? Something like that, right? Kanan stays away, doesn't want to. He's apprehensive about training and then kicks in when he decides, I'm going to go ahead and train you now, right? And he does it properly and he does it well. And then you see everything that he stands for, does, and then in the end, the sacrifice. Kanan jumped way up in my list in that last season of Rebels. Now, my vote for top Jedi, and this will surprise you, right? Because you go back to when the Clone Wars movie came out, and I heard Sky Guy and all this stuff for the first time. I was like, why is this little girl Anakin's apprentice? He doesn't have an apprentice. Vader never had an apprentice. Anakin doesn't have an apprentice. Yada, 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 yada. I guess Vader did, but we'll not get there. Couldn't stand it, right? I didn't even like her probably the first season and a half. But all of a sudden you start realizing she's growing. They did such an excellent job with that character, developing her over time from this young, snippy girl with attitude and what have you into a full-grown badass, okay? And I pretty much had that feeling she'd be in my top 3 or 4, probably 4 at this point after Rebels, okay? Probably right after Kanan, Yoda, Obi-Wan, I'd say Ahsoka, because she had gotten, the point where she knew when she had to leave the order because something wasn't right. She knew it. She sensed that it wasn't going well. The Jedi Council didn't have what they needed and something wasn't right. She left. She was smart enough to do that after they turned her back on her. And mind you, that's another reason that nobody on the council's on this list but Yoda, and Yoda barely gets a pass because he let them kick her off even though he didn't want to kick her off. So that's another reason Yoda didn't make this list. He wasn't strong enough to save Ahsoka. Okay, so now back to Ahsoka. We saw her grow. We saw what she did as Fulcrum in the Rebellion in Rebels. We saw her growing seasons 1 through 5 in the Clone Wars, and how, again, being kicked out of the order, staying trial, partnering with Ventress, doing all these things, right? But never, ever going to the dark side. And then we get season 7 of Clone Wars, which, okay, take away the Fast and the Forciest middle arc in there. Like, you know how I feel about that, obviously, right? You go to that last arc during Order 66, there is no Jedi better than Ahsoka. Mainly because, again, we're in the middle of chaos. What happened in Order 66 when we watched it in Revenge of the Sith? What did Yoda and Obi-Wan go do? Yoda first chops off 2 guys' heads without blinking, didn't even look at them, turned around, killed them, took them out, and had Chewie and Tarful take them away. Then they go to the Jedi Temple, and they just wreck everybody, throwing lightsabers through chests and what have you, right? Okay, what does Ahsoka do? She's willing to sacrifice herself because those are her people. Those are the people that followed her, fought with her, cared for her, did everything, and she'll sacrifice her life and Rex's if it had to be so as not to hurt them. Phenomenal. You've seen her fight. Come on. The scene when she jumped from ship to ship to ship and landed on that landing platform with the explosion behind her, probably the greatest Jedi scene of all, solo Jedi scene. If we go into some fights here, well, shit, go to her fight. Go to the fight with Maul. Ahsoka has been through some stuff. She has stayed strong. She never turned. She wouldn't even turn on the clones that were trying to kill her, right? And now the fact that she's helping with the rebellion after all of this, that we're going to see, and then the New Republic, we're assuming, and we're going to get her linked into all these shows. I think we're really going to prove out that Ahsoka, at the end of the day, will end up being the greatest Jedi we've seen out of all of this. And if you'd asked me that a couple years ago when Clone Wars was going, I'd have told you were nuts. And it was never going to be anybody but our legacy people, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Luke, right? But what do? What does Filoni do? He hands us people like Ahsoka and Kanan that we can have this discussion about. People that miss out on animation and books and comics, I feel bad for you, man, because there's a whole a lot of information in there. And it trips me out that everybody's like, I shouldn't have to read a book or a comic or watch a cartoon to understand something. Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to just get all this knowledge of this world, right? You don't just watch a television season or watch in the middle and not get every bit of information and background from everybody. The movies can't give everything. This gives everything we need to have this giant universe that's built. Okay. You wouldn't expect, say, the MCU to only handle their business inside of movies. Most of that stuff that we all know, that we think is obvious, normal, casual fans don't catch in a movie, right? They're there to enjoy it. That's what happens with these 11 films if you count Solo and Rogue One, right? Those 11 films, we're there to enjoy what we're there. Casual fans dig it. It's us that really get worked up, but we have the ability and the wherewithal and the want, usually, to go find the information. There's so much good stuff out there. So if you're not reading the books, reading the comics, or checking out the animation, do it. It's so much great stuff in there. And seriously, if you haven't, you're missing out on Ahsoka. You're missing out on Kanan. You're missing out on a lot of really good stuff. Hell, if I did the Sith, get Maul in there, man. Maul is phenomenal in Clone Wars and Rebels. So you're missing a lot. Just want to leave that out there as a quick side note. But my pick now is Ahsoka. What do you have? Leave it in the comments. Let me know on Instagram, whatever you got. Am I totally dead wrong here? Am I out of my mind for thinking Ahsoka has really risen above the rest of the Jedi that we've seen and known for the last 40 years? Is that what I'm thinking? Am I nuts? I don't think so. Hey, before I go, well, check out this shirt I'm wearing, right? The Eternal Experience, our friend, right? He's does toy photography. As you see, this is not like a Boba Fett still. This is a straight up toy pic. So go ahead and hit him up on Instagram and on YouTube, The Eternal Experience. And if you got the chance, go ahead and grab some swag from him too, right? Hey, this isn't an ad. This is just a friend helping a friend out. So go ahead and give him a like on YouTube as well. All right, guys. Now remember, this is Hoth Topic, but I'm brought to you by Sarlacc Digest. So go ahead and hit him up on Instagram, Facebook, get our group, and everything else. And we'll catch you every other Wednesday with the crew. And for now, I'm Kris, and I'm signing out. Later.